before I went to Vietnam, they give you leave so you can go home and say goodbye to your family, and so my mother and father had been separated, and my mom was living in Oregon at the time, and she came down to see me before I left for Vietnam, and my sisters were all there and everything. That was truly one of the hardest things, was to get on that plane and leave, and be a Marine, not cry, Everybody's saying goodbye to you and everything. So I got on the plane and I went to Los Angeles, where I met my older sister, Carol. She was living in LA at the time, in Watts. So I got down there with her. And then I stayed with her 10 days longer than I was supposed to. My unit was moving out. Well, I missed my initial troop movement, and they gave me office hours and they restricted me to the barracks at Camp Pendleton till the next group came, and when the next group came, I didn't know a single person in that group.
Why did you stay 10 days longer?
AWOL. I got down there with my sister, and she wanted me to stay and do things, and so I stayed. But after a while, it was like, hey, I gotta go back. So my sister drove me back to Camp Pendleton and dropped me off at the gate, where they immediately put me into restricted barracks. And then the next day they gave me office hours, and they said, hey, you will be restricted to the barracks till the next unit leaves, and you will go with that unit. And so that's what I did. And when that unit came, I didn't know a single person in there. I mean, I was all alone, and then we went to Okinawa first, and we did some jungle training there in Okinawa. And then one night, we were all out on Liberty in town, and some of the people we hadn't gotten paid. So they hawked their wedding rings, anything they had that they could do, they went in and they hawked them, figuring that, I'll come back as soon as we get paid and I'll get my stuff out. Well, that never happened, because that night when we were in town, the MPs came in, like in the movies, and said, all Marines report back to your barracks. You have orders, you're going to Vietnam. And at that time, the units they were fighting for their lives, man. The Marines were, and they were undermanned, and so there was some major operations that were taking place.
What year was this?
1967. It was April of 1967. And when we got back to the barracks, they took us right to the airport. Boom, we're on our way to Vietnam. And on the plane, I was sitting next to this captain, and being a boot Marine, sir, yes sir, he said, hey, knock that off, man, knock that off. And he had a bottle, and I believe it was vodka, and he said, here, have a drink. And I mean, yes sir, and like I took a drink. He said, hey, knock that off, man. He said, right now, we just people, and I thought, wow, and I could feel his tension. I could feel he was coming. This wasn't his first tour in Vietnam, and he knew what we were getting into, and so then they brought us in on commercial jets, and as we're coming into Da Nang Air Base, all of a sudden, I can see like these, look like laser beams, some coming this way and others going that way, and we're already coming in our descent. And what it is was they were rocketing the base as we were coming in, and we were firing back out at them, and from the skies. So kind of a pretty light show, but once we hit the ground, man, they said, move it, move it. And so soon as they opened the door, we all started running out.